Welcome to Yo Rants Oversized Load, Civics Edition. This series is for those who dare to speak when silence is expected, who show up for the unheard and ignored, and who intentionally carve paths rooted in community, purpose, and preparation. Tonight's episode highlights one of those rare voices who continues to press forward, even when the path gets heavy. She's a mother, an educator, a business owner, and a public servant. Someone who has been both praised and pressured, both remain grounded and unshaken. This episode is about what real leadership looks like, when the cameras are off and the critics get loud. Stick around, because this conversation is one you'll feel long after the credits roll. I've walked in many shoes, from the pulpit to the prison halls, behind the wheel of a big rig, and now as a medical cannabis patient and an advocate for truth. Some of you know me as Yo, the herbal trucker, but today I'm stepping in as Yo, the concerned citizen. This is Yo Rants, Oversized Load, Civics Edition. We're calling out power plays, exposing broken systems, and lifting voices that refuse to be silenced. Passion fuels purpose. Purpose activates power, and power, that's how we shift the system. As Kendrick Lamar said, this revolution will be televised, and I'm adding to the channel lineup. This is a revolution in motion. This is Yo Rants, Oversized Load, Civics Edition. Tonight's guest doesn't need much of an introduction because her work and her witness speaks volumes. She's a former commissioner, an advocate, an author, a professor, a divine disruptor, not just causing noise, but creating necessary shifts through purpose and principle. When I say divine disruptor, I mean someone who interrupts systems with intention, not to destroy, but to demand better for the people, for the unheard, and for what's right. She's challenged structures, uplifted voices, and even when pushed back against, she's pushed forward with grace and grit. You may know her from her campaigns, her classrooms, and her county forums. But tonight, you'll hear from the woman behind the mission. This is about the one who shows up when it's uncomfortable and keeps showing up even when the world says sit down. Let's welcome Honorable Alana Sanders. All right. Welcome.
Hello.
I am so glad to finally get up here and have an opportunity to speak with you. You know, to have such an esteemed guest with me. Real talk.
Oh, wow.
I ain't trying to fluff. I'm just telling you, I'm just being real with you. Ooh, so glad you joined us today on Yo Rants. This is like my first episode of the Civics Edition. So this is just something totally different and out of the realm and expanding into what I normally do, what I've been doing. And it was inspired by you, inspired by watching you over the few years and learning from you and your advocacy. So tell us a little bit about yourself since, just tell us.
Well, for those who don't know, I am Alana Sanders, and many of you call me Commish.
That's right.
former commissioner in Newton County, Georgia. I still hold my title as commissioner. You earn it when you win an election. I have to make sure.
All right, tell them.
And so when people call me commissioner, they are in their due right to do so, unless the person says they don't want to hold that title. And so I am a mother, as you stated, of a wonderful 20-year-old who's going to her senior year of college studying microbiology to become a doctor.
Come on with it.
To say that, I'm telling you, I could pop my collar on that one. You know what I'm saying?
I see.
So I am honored of that. I'm also a professor. I'm a former business chair. I teach the art of business and marketing, business operation and management. I've been doing that for over 20 years. And I'm just excited to be here, not just to talk all about my personal stuff. We're going to get into some stuff, but I'm excited just to be here, and I'm honored to be on your show.
Well, you know what? I am glad that you're here, and you know what? We're going to jump right into it. And what I wanted to find out first, what inspired you in 2020 to run?
You know what? It took a lot of inspiration because 5 years before that, let's back up. Go back. 5 years before that, I was just finished helping an elected official who had just actually won their first term as state rep. I worked on their campaign, and I actually was sitting in the chambers of the state capitol for the House, sitting in their seat, and I took a picture. And that state rep, who is currently still serving now, has said, "You're going to be an elected official." And I said, "The devil is a lie."
So they saw something before you did.
You going through now, you know. And she was like, "No, you have that fight in you. I can see you doing." She said, "Start on the local level first." That's why I started on the local level. She was like, "Start on the local level first." She said, "Do school board." And so she started school board because I was a teacher. And so school board would fit right on in. My daughter was in the school system. That would have been perfect. And then I went and did some research, went to a couple of school board meetings to see if that's actually what I want to do. Actually talked to a school board member who gave me some ins and outs. I did my research. But the person that I talked to, if I would have ran, I would have been running against them.
Okay, I got you.
Realizing that we were in the same district, because, you know, it's interesting on the local level. I worked a lot in Atlanta. And so I was just like any other regular resident, any other regular taxpayer, that you went to work and you went home and you didn't really truly at that time pay attention to politics like you should have. And so at that time, that sometimes elected officials are not present in the community. I have to keep it real. I cannot sugarcoat it here. This is not the opportunity, the time to sugarcoat it. Some are not present in the community. So if you don't see them, you have no idea who they are. You may have seen their names, and sometimes it doesn't resonate with you. So it didn't resonate that person was my District 3 board member for the school board. Okay. So I was like, school board really wasn't for me anyway. And then I spoke to a commissioner. I went to a town hall that had to deal with the trash in our community, where we had our own trash convenience center that was up under the county. And all of a sudden they created authority. That's the worst thing you can do sometimes in counties, is start an authority, because it takes it from up under the board, up under the government, the county. And so what happened was you had a lot of seniors who couldn't afford to pay the fee. You had veterans and seniors who were on fixed income, residents who was on fixed incomes, who had trash piling up in their garages because they couldn't afford it. And so I went to the town hall to fight with them. And so
you stood up.
Commissioner, who was the longest serving commissioner in Newton County, heard my voice and heard how I was standing up and correcting certain things. And he pulled me to the side and said, "Have you thought about running for commissioner?" I said, "No, I was going to do school board." He said, No, with your voice, you need to run for commissioner. And I didn't know it was going to go that quick, yo. I had no idea it was going to go that quick. He said, "Give me your number and I'm going to call you." He called me like in 3 or 4 days. He said, "You ready to qualify?" I was like, "Ready to qualify? What is qualify?"
Like qualify for what?
It was Thursday. I was like, what in the world? What is going on here? And so everything fell in line. I got qualified on the last day to run for commissioner, and all was history. I won my first election. I beat a 12-year incumbent. I over 60+% of the vote, and I actually received 60% of the actual voters that actually are registered in my district. And we know that was doing COVID time. So everybody was home. Everybody was paying attention. Everybody was Black Lives Matter, civil rights, which, various things. So everybody got out to vote. Okay. Everybody got out to vote. So I wish we can go back to that time, because I received so many votes and so much love during that time that it kind of disappointed me in the last election, but we'll talk about that a little later. But that's how it happened. And I also want to see a difference in my community. I noticed with my daughter being in school and me being a resident, a taxpayer for years in Newton County. At that time, I was in Newton County for about 14 years. I didn't see a change. I didn't see a difference. And be honest with you, I had no idea who was the reigning commissioner.
Okay.
I heard her name, but I've never seen her. And that's what I said when I run. I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to be that elected official that you only saw during election time that was begging for your votes. Yeah. I wanted to be present. That's why people say she everywhere. Well, you're tired of me, because you can't ever say that I only see her during election time, that I don't answer your call. I hear it from other people talking about other officials.
Yeah, we've seen them.
I said I never wanted that to occur when it came to me, that we don't hear from her. All we hear from her is when it's time to run and she want our votes. No, I want you to say she answers a call. She's a problem solver, that she's gonna be there. And when they say show up, I'm always there. They're always gonna know that I am going to show up. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the I would say the path that I wanted to lead once I moved on to the next level.
And that's one thing that I can attest to, because I witnessed it myself. I'm from Newton County myself. Born and raised, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't realize the power of the board of commission and also the positions that was there. The only thing that I knew growing up, when I think I voted for JC. He was one of the first ones.
Longest serving commissioner. Yes. 30 years. By now, 30 years. Yeah.
I remember we voted at the high school. So so it's a long time coming. So he's been in the community for quite some time. And then to have you to come in behind, to be not going to say be pushed, but to be inspired, to want to make change and to know that your voice mattered. So, during that particular time, what told, I think I skipped that question. I said, now, okay, now about this right here, what surprised you most about being elected? Like when you get elected to this position and you're brand new, you just fresh out of, I don't know what to say. I was trying to be respectful.
Let me tell you, one of the commissioners on the board, and he happens to be a Republican. And we had a conversation when I called and introduced myself to him when I won. And he said, you remind me of me when I first got on the board. I thought that once I got on this board, I was going to be change everything. I was on fire, that we're going to make a difference. The world is going to be perfect. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And we're going to make a difference. That is a lie.
I know that feeling.
I'm going to tell y'all the truth. I don't want people to get into politics. It is not for the faint at heart. It is not for those who are weak and cannot stomach some of this stuff, because it is not. I'm going to be truly honest with you. Because of the things I've gone through within my life has prepared me for the things that have gone through being a political figure that don't faze me as much, because things that I've gone through my life were a little bit more work. So it prepared me for this time and day. Okay. I was prepared for this. I was made for this. And so when I first got on the board, I didn't think that my first meeting would be a meeting where people were questioning my capabilities and my educational level on whether I should be a vice chair or whether I should hold a position. I never thought that I thought we was going to all be this happy family coming together, making a difference in the community. Because we are public servants. We were put in place to serve the people. That was my thought. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Somebody told me wrong.
You looking through those rose glasses. I know that feeling coming as an advocate, because on this side over here, when we was operating with the medical cannabis, because I thought it was all about the patient, until I've gotten inside and I'm looking around like, I'm saying it's money. It's like everybody want this, want that. And it's like, that's what happens when you're fresh out the womb, as you
Out the
say.
womb, going into something that you think you're looking at it from the outside, and once you get in the inside, it's completely different from what you thought
Yeah.
that was going to occur. So I saw all the things in my community that needed to be done. I spoke to residents in my community who wanted to see a change, who wanted their parks and recreation, wanted stuff for their youth, wanted different things in their community. And so that's what I was running for. I was
Yeah.
going in to do what the people who voted for me wanted me to do, because I'm answering to the people.
Yeah.
The board, to the people who elected me. And so that was my whole mission, my whole motive was to go in there. I knew the people wanted parks and rec, so that was one of
Yeah.
my main things. I know they want to get that youth facility done that hadn't been built since 2017. I knew there was a lot of things that they wanted done. I had a list.
Yeah.
My fight was for the residents, and a lot of people talking about she went and had her own mission, and no. My mission was the people. This is what people wanted in District 3, who told me this is what I needed to see. I needed those things to happen. So I went in there with a list of things that I told people I was going to do. I'm not going to give you a campaign speech and say, just so you can vote for me and it sounds good. I don't believe in that. So if I'm going to say I'm going to do something, I'm going to make sure I'm going to try my best to make sure it's done. So I had a list of things that I wanted to make sure that got done, because the people in the community wanted those things done. And so I had no idea that when you're fresh, I wouldn't say fresh, when you're sitting on a board that
Brand
has
new.
an agenda that's completely different from what yours is, that there is so much opposition to try to stop what you're doing. And they don't think about, I may be stopping her, but I'm hurting thousands of people.
That's a shame. That's a
I'm
shame.
hurting thousands of people, that just coming at one official is nothing compared to not giving the people in the community what they need.
Yeah, I mean,
that's selfish act. That is so selfish to me, that you would be upset with someone. You know, I always use this scenario. You have worked on a job.
Yeah.
And there's some coworkers that you don't particularly like. Okay.
I remember.
There's a boss that you don't care for.
Yeah.
You know you have a job to do, and you must do that job. We don't care about our feelings. Your feelings are your feelings. You got to put that to the side. But when we have a goal, and that's to the people that we're supposed to serve, that should be the only goal that is on your list. When you are a public figure or elected official, that means you are elected by the people. Your main job is to serve the people and not serve yourself. That's number one.
That's exactly how it should be, but in theory, that is great. But in a practical daily life, it's like, I don't see it happening. And it's sad to see it that way, and to see, I saw a few things that was going on, and I'm just like, wow, I can't believe that this is my hometown. And it was discouraging to see what I saw, because moving forward to last year, I had an opportunity to help you with your election, and that was an experience that prepared me for some of the things that I was going through throughout the year. And say thank you for that opportunity. But can you tell me? I'm gonna break it down now from the beginning. Like, in the beginning, what were your challenges from your first election that echoed into your second election? I mean, campaign, excuse me, your campaign. Let me know.
For one, there are powers that be that want to control you.
Okay.
And because they cannot control you, they try to make it difficult for you. They try to make it difficult for you to get things done. I'm not a person to be controlled. We can work together. We are adults. We'll do whatever needs to be to work together. But you are not going to control me, because I pay my own bills. Okay, I'm a mother, so I have somebody that I wouldn't say control, but I'm disciplined, and that's my daughter. So we are adults. So that was number one, wanting to control and wanting me to be on their agenda. The only agenda I'm on, as I stated, I'm going to state over and over again, is the people's agenda. That is the only agenda I'm going to do. I'm not going to do kickbacks, side backs, front backs, or push ups. Okay. Whatever it is, I'm not going to do it. I'm only going to go what is right. I've always said this, there's two G's that I don't mess with, and that's God and the government.
That sounds familiar.
I don't mess with them. Okay,
Yeah.
I tell people this all the time. I can't rock my fedoras in prison. I can't match it with my orange jumpsuit. So if I'm going to stay home, I'm going to stay home because I want to stay home, not because I have to be confined to an area. So that right there deters me from trying to do any type of crime. Okay, I know the consequences. I'm afraid of consequences, so I don't do various things. So I'm not going to allow someone to control me
Yeah.
because you want me to do something, and I'm assuming, I don't know, this is not, I don't know what it is. I'm assuming I may have came on the board and I've informed people. I was told by many I have awoken the county.
Not
County is
awake.
now engaged. The
That's
county
a bad word now.
this county
Woke.
sees what's going on, and the
Yeah.
county is engaged on the issues, and they now see, wait a minute, what's happening? Nothing is happening. What is going
Okay.
on? And so, because I was the voice of the people,
Mm-hmm.
I was the one who made people aware. I put the agendas out there. I told them when the meetings were. I posted the meetings. I was the engager. That's just what I did in my natural life. That's what I taught. Social media engagement. That's just what I did. So that's just a part of me. And so, being that, it made I all, as Tupac would say, all eyes on me. So it made all eyes on the board. Okay.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
people didn't like that. I heard them say, is she gonna post it on social media? Yes, because we're supposed to be transparent, aren't we? That's government.
Gotta be.
We're supposed
Gotta
to be
be.
transparent. We can't say we're transparent and accountable, right? If we're gonna be held accountable, we gotta be held accountable to the full extent, not just when it sounds good and when we say
Mm-hmm.
it. So those were some of the challenges. So you had powers that be who wants control. And because I didn't allow those various things to happen, here comes, we're going to stop this. We're going to stop a community center for the kids. We're going to stop anything that she wants to do. We're going to stop her from going to conferences and learning and bringing back information. We're going to stop these various things. And when they were doing all this before I got on the board, we're going to stop. But they didn't understand that you were not stealing my joy. I wasn't disappointed for me. I was disappointed for the people,
And that's a
because
shame.
I was in place for the people. It saddened me that you would want to stop something that's happening in a community, not just an individual, a community that consists of thousands of people. District 3 is one of your most diverse, I would have to say, the most
Yeah.
Black and brown people in the county. We have a mixture. I serve all, but we have to go by statistics. I'm only quoting what the stats was based on the Census Bureau. Okay. District 3 is
Just the
one of the
facts.
most diverse, almost 70% African American. And it's one of the areas that has the least infrastructure that's needed as far as dealing with parks and recs, programs for the kids. And because you're putting so much building on the people, that we don't even have enough greenery. And so
Mm.
it's sad. And you want to talk about our youth being involved and saying District 3 is the worst side and the west side of Newton County is the worst side. Guess what? If the government is not providing programming or doing anything to deter that, then you cannot say that it's the worst area. The kids are only going to do what they see. And if
Yeah.
you're not providing anything to deter or get their minds thinking on something differently, the kids going to only do what they see. They are in a learning stage, and it's up
Yes,
to
right.
us as adults to make sure that we stray them in the right, put them in the right direction. But if you're not providing all of that for them, then you cannot say they're bad kids. You cannot say this side of town is the worst town when they don't have the resources. This is the only area that does not have a full park and recreation. The only area.
Well, when I'm gonna tell you, I'm from Newton, and I had the opportunity to go drive through there, and it's like I'm looking around, like, oh my goodness, especially when you drive past Salem Road and Almond Road, and you get down towards what they used to call Loop 81. I don't even know if they still call it that, but Loop 81. I'm like looking around, where are all the cows? I mean, with all the
Farmland.
grass. I'm like,
That used to
it's
be farmland. That's why when people ask me, is Newton urban or rural? I said, well, it's kind of half and half.
okay.
Part of the town, certain parts is like suburban, urban, and parts are rural. So we can't even get rural grants in the area where we live. So we are the most dense population in the county. The west side of Newton is the most dense population. Now, District 3 also consists of the northern side, which is closer to Oxford. It's a little bit of rural, has a little bit more housing, but not as much farmland. It's a little bit more space in the housing, bigger houses and so forth, but it's a mixture. You have District 3 is urban and suburban, really.
Yeah.
It's urban and suburban together.
So, well, I'm gonna move a little bit further along, looking at the time right here and trying to stay on the time. We got a few people here shouting out everything right here. We got Tracy Belcher. She's saying good evening, good afternoon. And we have Maya. Maya is here. And we have Denise. She is here. And we have Angela is here. So we just want to shout y'all out and thank y'all for joining and stuff like that. If y'all have any questions for Commissioner Sanders, be sure to drop it down here and we'll be sure to make sure that we answer get those questions asked for you. But right now, so I do remember last year with your campaign with the signs. Now, I'm trying to figure out what is it that people feel the need to attack the signs and stuff. And
I don't
I
know.
mean,
Signs don't win elections. I don't
okay.
know. Maybe I had nice looking signs. I
No, I just
designed them, by the way. I
I,
designed everything for my campaign. So maybe because I had nice, colorful signs. In
yeah.
2020, I was the first one to have that huge sign with my big face on it. And I
Okay.
noticed after those elections, everybody. So I said, okay, I'm a trendsetter. Okay. So everybody started having the same signs. But I have no idea what the issue is. People
Yeah.
have to understand, and I think they probably thought if we damage her sign, she can't get another one. I don't know. They would have to tell me what the issue is because signs are not cheap. Those signs
Yeah.
are like $65 each. Okay.
Yeah.
And so they're not cheap. So I don't know what the issue. And then when I go and change it out, they damage it again. I go change it out, they damage it again. And I said, you know what? Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. But
Yeah.
I got a name. I've been awarded a name, an affectionate name from that campaign. They call me Carmen San Diego now.
Tell me where in the
So,
world
so when
is
I hear, I know when they go, hey Carmen. But I love that. I mean, thank you so much. They said every time they see my signs, I remind them of Carmen San Diego.
and
So
yeah.
I got a good name. So I'm gonna think positive about it. But I have no idea what the issue is with people damaging other people's signs. And people don't realize that is a crime. If
And
you get caught,
yeah,
that is a crime to damage political signs. So I need for those who are doing that to know that if you get caught on camera doing that, it is a crime.
yeah, and you know what? That ain't even worth it. Talking about, you on
It's not
cell
worth
block
it.
4, talking about what you in here for. Man,
Damaging
I
the
was
sign.
damaging the sign. But I'm gonna move on a little bit further to something that's a little bit deeper. Like last year, we know that you didn't win your campaign. And I'm trying to figure out outside of what actually shifted the numbers versus your first campaign and the campaign from last year. I mean, do you have any ideas or any type of data or anything that we could look up and share?
Well, we looked at the data because I'm a data person. I only can speak to data and truth. Um, Voter empathy was ugh, the numbers. I think it was like 1,000 people that came out, even for the runoff, and less than 3,000 came out for the primary.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a true disappointment. The voting was truly a disappointment compared to my first election where there was over 11,000 votes. From this election, only like 3,000, less than 3,000 people that came out. And then we went to the runoff. That was less than it barely made 1,000. Barely made 1,000 people. The people didn't even come back out to vote. And I'm going to be honest with you. What was very interesting about this election that I did not see in my first election, and I was running against an incumbent in my first election, and this one I was considered the incumbent. I did not see Democrats, and I have to keep it real, Democrats promoting for Republicans to vote for them. Now, of course, I know I had Republicans that voted for me. Mm-hmm. That's just normal. There was no Republicans that was in the race. Of course, they're gonna vote, but we never put out signs and flyers as Democrats to say, "Hey, come vote for me." And then my first time, and I'm just speaking truth. This you can go back and see the information. I've never seen Republicans endorse Democrats publicly. And I've spoken to some of my friends who are Republicans. We're friends. You can be friends with Democrats and Republicans can be friends. We just have different views and issues. And speaking to them, they said, we don't do that. We don't endorse a Democrat and vice versa. So that was so interesting to me to see so many Republicans endorse a Democrat. And so that was very questionable. And to have Republicans even saying, my fellow Republicans, go get a Democratic ballot and vote on the Democratic ticket. I've never seen that voting since I was 18 at all. Never, ever heard of that. I guess that's a new thing this era. That's what happened also in this election. If you pull up the statistics, if you pull up the stats, you had so many Republicans in this election, especially this election, crossed over to vote Democrat. And so that was another game changer. But you had a lot of people who did not come out and vote for this election. That's not just in Newton County. That was statewide in Georgia. We had so many people that did not vote statewide for the election, but just to look at the numbers in Newton County, it was a disappointment for that primary election. Now they came out for the general. Why? Because the president was on there.
Gotcha. And we just got to go ahead and remind them about the in between.
And so for the primary, the president was definitely on there, but it was voting for your Democratic nominee and voting for your Republican nominee. Mm-hmm. But for the general, you definitely was voting for your representative for the United States of America. And that's the same thing that happened in 2020. Our election was put on with the president. Okay. We had more people voting and coming out and voting, which is a question and research we need to definitely look at. We got to encourage people to vote more locally. I think they don't understand how local officials are so important in the game. Even right now, doing what's happening on the federal level. Your local officials can help combat some of those things and put various things in place because they have home rule authority that can help with assistance that we need on the local level. But when you have the wrong people in place on the local level because you're not paying attention and you're more concerned about voting for the president of the United States, who's considered a figurehead, then that's a problem. So that's a problem with, I would say, with, I don't know if it's just the Democratic Party thing or just voting empathy or voting awareness in its entirety. We have to explain to people the importance of voting locally.
Yeah, I can reiterate that because I know when I was actually out there just working and hustling, that's what I realized. A lot of people would be, if they were more informed and know how important it is. And that's why I'm glad that we're, doing this podcast and how you were doing your town halls, because a lot of people are too busy working, making money, trying to make a living than to follow this layers of government, whether it's the county, the city, the state. The one thing that they're able to pretty much focus on is the state election, the governor and the president. In between the midterms, those are the most important ones, and your local.
They don't understand that even with your state reps, that these are the ones that are in these seats, creating these laws, creating the bills, and determining your livelihood. They don't understand the governor can veto. He has veto power, but he is not in there voting for those bills.
No.
He signs off on them. He can veto them. He has certain power, just like your chairperson of your county or your mayor of your city. They have veto power, but those are the ones who are creating the resolutions, the ordinances, those laws in your area, allowing businesses, allowing data centers to come into your area, various things. Those are the people, and we have to pay attention. We have to make sure we have the right people in place on the local level as well as in the House and the Senate, and also in Congress. A lot of people don't pay attention to what's happening in the U.S., voting for your U.S. congressman or congresswoman, excuse me, and as well as your Senate, your U.S. Senate. They have to understand that these are important positions that vote on these laws and make these laws for you federally. And they just more focus on the president of the United States and not realizing he signs off on it. He's a figurehead. He can be, he has certain types of veto power, but Congress is who is setting the standard of the different laws that we have that we are supposed to abide by. But they don't understand that concept, and that's where we've dropped the ball. We have dropped the ball, especially, like I said, the Democratic Party. We have dropped the ball in educating the voter. I can't speak on the Republican Party because I'm not a Republican, but I can probably ask some of them what they teach. But we have to make sure that we are teaching the masses and educating them on voting.
Well, since you brought that up, what made you run for Georgia Democratic chair in 2025? I mean, that's just like a great feat and a big step to take after last year.
Good question. I actually was asked last year.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know that. See, people think that because I post a lot on social media that I tell everything about me. I was asked to do that last year.
Okay.
When it first came about, I was sought out.
Okay, gotcha.
I was asked to put my name in the hat. And to me, that's a complete honor. For somebody who is not even in your, people who are not even in your county, people who don't see you on a daily basis, but are watching the things that you do, who felt that you would make a great chair of the Democratic Party of Georgia and wanted to personally put your name in the hat. They asked for my resume. Although we have to turn in our resume to apply for this, to qualify for this position, they asked for my resume. And I had to send over my resume so they could see the things that I do. And I'm pretty sure they passed it along to other individuals. I was asked to do this in 2024. And it kind of went on the back burner because I hadn't heard anything since then, because it was around September. It was before November elections.
Okay.
No, it was after November elections because we had the November elections when it was, so it was right in November. Okay. And so I didn't hear anything for a while. And then once the application was released, it was sent to me. I had no idea a salary was attached to it. I knew it was going to be full-time. I knew that the salary was, I didn't know the amount, let me say that, I didn't know the amount of the salary. I knew that there was going to be something, but I had no idea what it was. I wasn't doing it just like when I ran for commissioner. I knew there was a salary attached to it, but I didn't know how much it was. So I got in a seat. I had no idea because I wasn't running for money. I was running for change and to see a difference, because I know what was happening on a local level. And I didn't like the way it was happening. I didn't like the way things were happening with people who were a part of what was happening on a local level. It just needed to stop. It was dysfunction. So I wanted to be a part of the solution. So that's why I put my name in the hat. I actually called around, did some research. At that time, I only knew one person that was running. Because I spoke to an individual who was supporting that one person. I only knew one person who was running at that time. I had no idea who was running until I had to go get qualified and submit my application. My process was a little bit different.
Okay.
Because the process for this is that if you sit on the state committee, and with the state, I have to explain this to people because a lot of people said, I want to go to the polls and vote for you. I was like, no, it's not that type of, that's why you didn't see all this campaign material all over the place. So the Democratic Party, each committee local committee has people that represents on the state committee. And it's based on population. Newton County has 2. Some county, like Gwinnett County, has about 20. Fulton might have about 20. It depends on the population. Some have 1, some have 5. And so these individuals make up the state committee of the Democratic Party of Georgia. Okay. And so in order for me to even qualify to run, I had to have at least 30 people to tell me I could run. I think it's about it's slated for about 300 or so that's a part of the state committee, but it's roughly around 200 or something. So I had to call all these people and send them emails and tell them about me. And I sent them information about me so they would say, okay, it's okay for you to run. So I got to prove. To me, that's winning.
So you call 30 strangers.
I received or did receive on that night. To me, that's winning because I got people to believe in me to see me to run for this position over the state of Georgia. To me, that was winning. I look at things differently. I look at opportunities, and with everything I do, even if it's some people might look at it as a failure, I look at, oh, I could take this from that and go here. And I don't look at it that way. I see it completely different. So to get qualified, I got over the 30. I got over the 30. And then after I submitted my application, I had more people calling me and said, you get your numbers? I'm sorry I didn't get your information too late. I approved you. So I was honored. I was honored to sit and be one of the 7. Okay. I was happy to travel across the state of Georgia and talk to my neighbors around the state of Georgia to understand that they have the same problems and issues that we have here in Newton County.
Wow.
They have the same gripes with their committees. They have the same exact concerns and want to see change. So that was my confirmation I was in the right place at the right time.
So that right there shows me that there has to be a puppet master if it's the same thing in different places. So I'm trying to figure out, how do we cut those strings? You know what I mean?
We have to be open to change.
Okay.
You have to understand. I said this on the campaign trail when I was speaking and doing the forums. I said doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is insanity. That is the definition of insanity. But people are so accustomed to doing the same thing over and over again and thinking something differently is going to happen and it's not. So you have to be open for change. You have to be open to try different things and not be afraid of the norm, of not be afraid of something different than the norm. That's the problem. When change happens, some people get I don't know, they get afraid to move and take risk. I don't know. And so we have to be open to, and we have to be honest that we need to get our stuff together. We got to be honest that we got to get our stuff together. You got to take care of the inside first before we can do anything on the outside. And if the inside, it's kind of like if you don't take care of your body on the inside, don't expect to have good skin or not have bumps on your face. Whatever how you take care of your body, what you put internally is going to happen on the outside, is going to show. Until you take care of what you put in your body, things are not harmful, then it is what it is. You have to take care of the inside of the organization first in order for things to occur and to change.
Okay, well, that leads us back to educating the people. Now, that's one thing that I can say and witness myself. I've seen it on my timeline. You had quite a few county town halls. And I noticed after the town halls, I don't know if I just started paying more attention to seeing about town halls here and town halls that, but I didn't notice it, really and truly until I started seeing more coming from your end. Not saying that it's just you, but I'm just saying I didn't become aware of so many town halls until I started seeing yours.
Well, that was one of the things that I promised that I was going to do with the community. I want them to stay abreast of what was happening in our area. I want them to know what was occurring. I want them to know how I was voting. I wanted to have their input before there was an important vote, because my vote is the people's vote. How I vote determines I'm their representation. So I want to hear how they thought about various issues in their community, because they live here. I tell people all the time, it's different from being a local official versus a state official versus a federal official. Why? Because I see these people in the grocery store. There's been times when I've gone to church, and after the pastor did the benediction, they coming up to me like, Commissioner Sanders, well, you heard what happened in my neighborhood and blah, blah, blah. I was like, dang, the pastor just said, amen. Can I stay in worship?
Just like, look.
But hey, I accepted this role. That. It is what it is. That's the significance of my hat too. When I take my hat off,
you off. You
I'm
off. I'm off. Look.
And ironically, they have no idea who I am without my hat. People will walk past me. They say they notice my smile, but they have no idea who I am. Okay,
so you just blend in the crowd.
You take on this role. I wanted the community to be informed. I wanted them to know what was happening. As I was learning, that's being a teacher. As a teacher, we share everything. So when I learn, I want them to learn and grow too. I didn't want to just be the only one learning and growing, because God was not going to leave me in this seat longer. And he has some things for me, as you can see. He made sure. So he wasn't, I wanted to make sure that I assisted or helped the next person who was coming behind me. I was the first Black woman to ever sit in this seat. I was the first Black or brown to ever win my district. Wow. So I knew I had a lot on my shoulders. I had a lot on my back. And I knew that whoever came behind me would catch whatever I had. So I caught it for you. I caught it for you. It's kind of like the parent went through all the mistakes first, and they told their child, okay, this is what happened when I did this. I'm telling you, but it's on you if you're going to do that. Okay, I'm going to tell you what the consequence is going to be. So I took the backlash for you. So hopefully whoever comes in next within this seat, a progressive official, a progressive, I would say Democrat, I would just say a progressive leader, and to
public
be able
servant
to,
for sure.
Public servant to be able to take on this role. And let me explain this, because I probably have some of my Republican friends actually watching. I want to tell you the difference between a progressive leader and being aggressive. People get those two misconstrued. Aggressive is completely different from being progressive. A progressive leader fights for the people. They fight for issues. They fight for the environment. They fight for various things. They are unapologetically them, and are going to continue to fight no matter what. They don't take no for an answer. They find solutions to problems versus giving up and folding. Those are progressive leaders. That's not aggressive leaders. Those are progressive leaders. And so we are the ones that are going to be on the front line fighting for you, when some of you are afraid to stand up or don't have that I would say but don't have that. I can't even think of the word right now, but don't have it to stand up and speak out, because that's never been a part of you.
Gotcha.
Some people are given certain things to speak up and be leaders, and some have not. Some are great behind the scenes. Some are great doing various things. We all have our specific roles that we're supposed to be doing certain things. So that's what a progressive leader does. That's what we do. We stand up and fight for people. And normally those issues are nonpartisan. They're not Democrat or Republican. They're people issues. We're fighting for people. Everybody needs health care. That's not Republican or Democrat. Everybody needs clean running water. That's not Republican or Democrat. Every parent wants their child to go to a great school. That's not Republican, Democrat, or independent. That's people issues. That's why sometimes I wish we had a people party. Because we need one. Issues. It has nothing to do with the party. Everybody wants the same thing. And the progressive leaders, we basically are fighting for what everybody wants. And they want to survive and thrive in their communities. And so we fight for those issues that you survive and thrive. We fight for areas where people don't hear you. Give an example like a Stoneleigh. Stoneleigh community. I know majority of Stoneleigh community is predominantly Republican area. But it's my job to fight for a community that I am the representative of. I can care less what your political status is. All I know is not right. And I'm going to fight for it regardless. It's not right that these things are impeding on you and nobody is doing nothing. It is not right. I don't care if you're Black, white, Hispanic, Puerto Rican, or Asian. I know it's a part of a song, but I don't care.
I thought it sounded familiar.
I don't care. It's what is right is what we're going to fight for. And it has nothing to do with Democrat or Republican. It's people, God's people. And if you're going to go to these meetings, I said this once before, and pray to God before you open these meetings, and pray for God to lead and guide us in the right way, and make the best decisions when we're voting on issues, and we pledge allegiance to a flag of the United States of America, to the Republic, under God. So if you're going to do that, then you have to abide by what you are saying. And
That's right.
God loves, now that's biblical. God loves people, no matter who they are, what gender, race, or what matter, whoever it may be. That's what I fight for. And that's all.
Well, while you were doing all that fighting, now I know coming from an advocacy side over here, how you can be attacked for doing something good.
Oh, yeah.
And say, for instance, you're fighting for a cause, a community. How did you handle some of the backlash? Because I do have some visuals to share some of the stuff if it's okay for me to share that part, because when I saw it, it was very disturbing. And to be honest, I just didn't understand. I didn't know why they did this or whatever. This is just, if you feel comfortable. If not, I can just,
I mean, hey, it was on next door. Everybody saw it. So, I mean, I mean
So
it is what
basically,
it is.
it's just letting people know the ins and outs when you get in front and trying to represent the people. This is some of the backlash that, this right here really did. When I saw this, it was disturbing. Let me turn this ticker off so we can get a full view of this. Let me see if I can turn this off. Now, that leads me to this question. You've been called flashy or attention seeker, a whiner, or my question is, how do you respond to it? Because you already, I know how I would.
Oh goodness. Let me tell you, even though I lost my parents at a young age, I had some great parents and I had a wonderful mother who gave me an example, showed me an example.
Mm-hmm.
First Lady Shirley Diaz Sanders. She was
Mm.
a school teacher. She was also loved by many in the community. Same thing as my father. My father was the father of all fathers. For those who didn't have father figures, I learned from an example. And I learned from them on how to handle some issues. Now, my Gemini side did want to say a few things, but I had to tell that twin to sit on down.
Sit down. Go sit down somewhere.
Because, as I stated, I was the first.
Mm.
And it's sad to say that being the first, they compare you. In my interview yesterday on the radio they compare you all, and I'm being honest, and I hope those who are not of the African American persuasion or melanin individuals that you hear me, that we get compared by what happens from one person who may look like us, and you think that all of us are the same. And so I had to make sure that I responded in a way that did not affect this position for someone who looks like me and another Black female or Black or brown female or a woman, period, who's progressive like I. No matter, that will not be say, we told you these progressive women and these women this certain way, act this way. I did not want that to happen because I've seen that happen. I've seen that occur in various positions where I've heard sometimes, well, we don't want another Black woman because they're going to be strong-headed like Commissioner Sanders, where women who've got other Black women who've gotten ran over or didn't get selected and should be right now our county manager. I'm going to say that out front. Because you thought that they were going to come in because they were educated. They were brilliant. You can't take away someone's education. You cannot. And I always tell people this: your issue, that's your issue. That's not mine. I can't take on how you feel, and I hate to say this, I can't take on your insecurities. You have to find out within yourself why a person's presence interrupts your demons.
Wow.
You have to go to God on that. I can't help you with that. I can't change for you. This is how God made me. I always tell people this, that education is for everyone. In the United States of America, we have options. We have a lot of options. Now, right now, I know it's going to be hard for the kids to get a college degree based on student loans. It's really, and I cry out for these kids. You know what I'm saying? But back during the time When I received my degree, I had some scholarship as well, but that financial aid paid for everything. Okay.
Yeah.
So we had options. We had so many options to be able to go to school. And especially right now, you have online education. So where you can get your master's and your bachelor's at home on your own time, not having to
Yeah.
get up to go to class at 8 o'clock in the morning like we had to. Nobody,
Ooh,
when
7
you
o'clock.
first leaving mom and daddy house, you don't want to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, but you had to
Yeah.
grow up. Okay. You know you
Yeah.
had to get that grade, and you want that degree to be better.
Yeah.
So those different things were there for everyone. African Americans and minorities had limitations where we couldn't get certain things. But those options were there for everyone. So if I was able to get my education, so can you. And I encourage you to go get it. College is not for everyone. I always tell people college is not for everyone. Go get a trade, whatever you may do, start whatever it is. But whatever I possess, you can get it too. And
Well, yeah, and as we coming up to the hour mark, because like I say, I mean, we could go on and on
I'm
all
here.
day,
Go
but
ahead. Keep going.
yeah,
We
look,
here. We here.
look,
Keep on rolling.
hey, look, I
Keep
got
on
it.
rolling.
Like I say, I'm a yeah. Let me go ahead and go to the next question. Then let's go with this one right here, because I really and truly want to know this one right here. What has political service? You heard I said political service, right? I didn't say politics. How did political service cost you personally working in politics?
Cost me in what way? I want to make sure that I'm answering the question.
Cost you emotionally,
Mm.
your health, what gray hairs? I mean,
Like
what?
Obama and Clinton, right?
I mean, was there? Better yet, let me phrase it this way: at what point, when the pressure was applied to you, that you actually thought about just saying whatever, throwing your hands up, or was there a time?
Oh, there were many times. Thank God that I had mentors and some supporters in the county and some great elected officials who've been doing this for years, who've been through it and been through the trenches in times where we were not even accepted. And I have to respect that. Commissioner J.C. Henderson, he was the only African American on the board in times where we were not fully accepted in these positions, and he made it through. And I have to think about that whenever I want to give up. Like, dang, these people were in times where they couldn't even get things done because of the color of their skin and so forth, and they made it through. So how dare I give up? There's been many times I've had people, and so when you're in this political position, I'm telling you this, it's good to have supportive people around you because they're going to
Yeah,
come at you left and right, especially if you're going against the grain. If you're not
yeah,
going with the grain, you're going against the grain. If you're not going with the status quo and you're doing what's right and you're very transparent, you're accountable official, you are always going to be the center of attention, and they're going to come for you no matter what. They are going to come for you, but you have to be ready. That's why I wrote the book, because I wanted women to be able to understand what myself and there's also other fellow commissioners who wrote their stories in that book, and other state reps, on what it
mm-hmm,
feels like to be a woman in this position, especially a minority woman in this position, and what you will go through, and to be prepared. That's why I say I love sharing information, because I want to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly of this job, so you can say, I don't know, but I don't want to deter you, but I want to support you to be able to move forward. Okay. So it's really important that um, when you put an official in there who is fighting for your community, it's really important, my neighbors, to
yeah,
support and surround them. You can't just put them in there and leave them there and not show up to meetings. And you want them to fight for your issues. You want them to fight for your concerns, and you're nowhere to be found.
mm,
You have to realize they are the voice, and always being the voice for issues that matter to you, that may not matter to anybody on that board or whatever board you may be on, you're going to get backlash. So they need your voice to be the voice that's going to speak to the issue as well, to back it up. You have to make sure you do that. Um, Now, should there be backlash in regards to this? No,
mm,
because if we're fighting for people and we're fighting for the issues that pertain to people, then we can all work on one accord. But when everybody has their own personal agenda, their own thing they want to do, that's when the issue comes. That's when the issue comes. So I would have to say I appreciate the backlash. And people people don't understand my resilience. They think that all the things that they have done to me and have I guess thrown at me, that I was just gonna sit in the corner and cry. But obviously you don't know Alana Sands. Let me introduce you to her. If you don't know.
Let me reintroduce myself,
so,
right?
There is nothing that you can throw at me that's going to make me sit and cry in the corner. 2 tears in a bucket. That's it. And I'm going to move on. After that cry, God said, get up. You've done it. You move on. Now, this position will turn your hair gray because I've never had 2 or 3 gray hairs showing up in my head. I was like, where these gray hairs coming from? Because if you are a progressive leader, I'm going to say, you take on the issues like they're your own. And although they are your own because it's your community, you take them on. You live and breathe them. You, like I said on my page, I cry out for my district, even though I'm not even sitting in that seat. I cry out for it because I know what they deserve. I know what's sitting there for them that should be done that's not being done because they're not a priority. They're not a priority on anyone's list. And that's why I said to them, in order to be a priority, you have to tell people that you are a priority. They're elected officials. They're not permanent positions. So you have to make it known that I am a priority. I pay taxes in these Newtons of a county.
Not Newtons of a county.
I pay taxes here. I am
all
a
up in here
taxpayer. My taxes actually rose because of these high assessment property values.
Oh, yeah.
I pay school board. And even if you don't have a child in the school system,
I'm with you.
You pay taxes. So you have a say on how the money is going to be spent. So you have to get up, get out, and speak up. I was going to use the other song. I refer to the song.
Now, that's what I'm laughing about. I'm like, look, that's the joke I usually make about that. I'm like, look, we paying all these school taxes. We don't have any children.
Look,
I understand.
The only reason why I have not fully been to school board meetings because, and this is another suppression, and I've said this once before, and I'll say it again on this show. Mm-hmm. Why would you hold a school board meeting the same time as a board of commissioners meeting when they're both the same? They're both 2 entities where we pay taxes to, and we all need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
I want to be able to go there, be present, and speak to you directly so I can make sure it's documented on what I'm saying, not watch it on demand. They have the counties, local government have home rule authority to change their meetings. Listen to me closely. I'm coming up close. They have home rule authority to change their meetings.
Okay.
They don't have to keep it at the same time. If you read your manual for being a commissioner, and I'm pretty sure the school board has one too, it says you can change your meetings by the vote. So why would you hold meetings that are so important when we both pay, both these entities can change the millage rate and increase our taxes, and we can't go to both meetings because they're held at the same time. Then the other thing I have a problem with, I'm going to put it out there. You have authorities, okay? We have solid waste. We have the water authority. I'm trying to think. We have the joint development authority, and we might have some more authorities that have been made up. I don't know. So many just pop up.
Just authorized.
The problem I have is why you're not being held accountable and recording your meetings so those who can't attend because you having meetings at 5:30 in the afternoon or whatever, 4 o'clock, or having them at lunchtime, and people can't come and they can't watch online to see how you're voting, to see what you're doing. Okay, some of our tax dollars go to these authorities. They come before the board and ask for money.
And people don't even know nothing about them.
Before the board and ask for funding. The Joint Development Authority, the Industrial Development Authority, that's supposed to be a part of our economic development, determine what we're going to have in our area, comes before the board and asks for that $350,000. So why can't you record your meetings so we can see what's happening in these meetings?
The only thing I can say is they don't want you to know.
Accountability.
Yeah.
And when I say that, people come at me because they don't want other people to think, why these meetings are not being recorded. Now, what I was told when I asked this question the first time I became a commissioner is that we don't have the equipment. So I said, nobody can't put a cell phone on the tripod.
I was like, I mean, if they can stream themselves,
let's go farther. Now
yeah,
that we paid thousands of dollars for technology and equipment, what is the excuse now?
yeah.
It's just a flick of a button to turn it on so it can stream and hit a button to stream on YouTube live. What is the problem? What is the
Yeah.
issue? Or if you in your meetings, turn on or have the county work with you to give you a certain phone that's connected to the county YouTube to go straight so it can all stream in the same spot. Other counties stream their meetings. I can give you an example. Rockdale County streams all their meetings. Our planning and zoning meetings are not even streamed to where you can see what happens in planning and zoning. That is a huge issue for me because there's no accountability. So it's basically you're saying here he say or she say on what they actually said in the meeting. So
if they don't take good notes, then it's like that's why I was shocked last night when I saw here in Mableton they had the zoning and commission zoning committee, and I'm like, this is a brand new city. Newton County has been in existence for how long?
Rockdale County next door. I watched their entire government from planning and zoning to their board of commissions meeting to whatever they have on Facebook. They stream it on Facebook.
Oh, Cobb County does that.
Ours used to be streamed on Facebook, but they don't want the accountability piece.
Oh, accountability brings visibility.
Yeah,
because when you're accountable
on YouTube, people don't particularly go to YouTube like they used to unless they're going to watch a different type of show or they refer to YouTube. They're not going to go there. But they're on Facebook and it gives them that alert that you're live. Oh, they're going to watch it and they're going to respond.
Yeah.
If we are a transparent government, and that's supposed to be in our plan, strategic plan, that we are with transparency and accountability, then you don't have a problem. You shouldn't have a problem streaming on Facebook and hearing what people have to say.
Well, speaking of what people have to say, what's your message to the next wave of women leaders? Since I know you wrote the book about, the hang up and the ditches and stuff that they dig for you and all that other kind of stuff. So tell us, what message would you tell women leaders? Because I heard about She Leads now.
Yes, She Leads. She Leads initiatives also endorse women leaders and also our lobbyists for issues that pertain to women and youth and children. She Leads Initiative, which is a 501c4. And also I'm the president of the 13th Congressional Federation of Democratic Women, which actually serves 7 counties, including Newton County. So we are women who actually will be fighting and eventually vetting candidates to run for office and having them come before us to see if you align with the mission and values that we really want to endorse and support you. As you know, women are your number one voters.
That's right.
We're the voters. So we want to make sure that we're putting the right people in place that are looking out for us as well. And so I invite you also to our next meeting on May 28th. That's shameless plug. On May 28th at Stone Crest Library. Make sure you come on out at 6:00 p.m. 13th Congressional Federation of Democratic Women is our meeting every 4th Wednesday of the month at 6:00. Okay, got that out the way. So my plight for women is that we do need more women in this position. In elected roles. Why? Because there's so many laws that are pertaining to us, that are about our bodies, about how we should live, what we should be doing, by people who have no idea what we go through. And so there needs to be a touch of a woman in these positions to be able to hear the side of people. Women, we are nurturers. Yes.
Okay.
We are nurturers. We're going to make sure we think about people first.
Yeah.
Majority of us, I have to say. Those progressive leaders. I mean, I can't say all women are the same, okay? Those progressive leaders, we're going to think about the things that people, we're going to think about people. We're going to think about the environment. We're going to think about what hurts someone. That's how we think. So having women in various positions, we need to have that diversity. We need to have more diversity in these various boards. Georgia, as you heard me say on the campaign trail when I was doing the Democratic Party chair campaign trail, I said Georgia is a melting pot of many different cultures and languages. So Georgia should represent these boards as well as these positions should represent what Georgia looks like, especially in various areas. So we have to have the diversity. My plight to women leaders, is that if you see something wrong within your community, become the solution. Run for
Mm.
office. If you see something that's happening in your community and you see you're the one who's always speaking up, that means that it's a sign that you are the next leader. Okay. There's so many trainings and free trainings out there that actually pay for the trainings. I just came from the Vote Run Lead training that paid for, had sponsors that paid for everything, grooming women leaders to
Okay.
and campaign managers. I mean, we had a few men in the room, but majority of them were women leaders. They actually were grooming campaign managers and women leaders, those to run for local, state, and federal offices. So there's so much training out there now that you can get groomed to run for office. They're not going to leave you by themselves. She leads, actually trains as well. So it's now
Okay.
the time. And you actually put up there the Lead to Change conference. I don't know if you could put that back up. I'm working with the Young Democrats because we now need to build up our young leaders. May 17th, it is free at the Rockdale Conyers Library from 11 to 3 p.m. or 2 p.m. I'll see what's on 11 2 p.m. We are helping to train up young leaders from ages 14 to 25. So parents, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, sign up your children. Myself and Devontae Jennings, who's the president of the the Young Democrats of Georgia, we
I know
are
Devontae.
together to get the next leaders ready. My thing is also parliamentary procedure. I love making sure that I know about parliamentary procedure. I love it. Thanks. Shout out, rest in peace, Eric Mays.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes, indeed. Point of order. Point of order.
He made me love parliamentary procedure more to where
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
all the training 101, 102, already 105. So I invested in parliamentary procedure training. I am versed in it. So I'll be teaching those courses as well, because let me tell you, there's power in knowing how to conduct a meeting and knowing when to ask a question when someone's speaking, point of question, and knowing about abstaining and knowing about those various things. There's power in that. And if you know how to conduct yourselves in meeting and know parliamentary procedure, you will be successful in being a part of a board. So I wanted to make sure those new leaders who come into those positions, that they're not dumbfounded or looking up in the air because they have no idea what's going on, because they don't even know how to conduct themselves in a meeting, because there's no training for that until after you become elected. And then 9 times out of 10, you may not even go to the training. I was a commissioner who believed in training. Anytime they had a training, I was front row and center. That's why I have so many hours in training as elected official. I'm a state certified county commissioner. I have 66 hours of that. I have a certification I have 2 certifications in leadership and development from UGA as well as with NACO. So anytime and I have citizen engagement certification. I have all these I believe in education and training.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
believe in education and training because learning never stops. The more you know, the more you grow. Don't think you're going to go in these positions thinking you know it all. You will not. You always learn something new every day. And the great thing about it is when you can take that information and share it with somebody else who don't know, and you're teaching them something and they pass on, they pay it forward and pass it on to somebody else. That is a high for me. So to be able to teach and to be able to share information that makes people grow in their areas, especially if they want to get in this political arena. So anything with education, any conferences, I don't care what it is. If it's dealing with my area, I'm going to be there. So if there's a conference, I'm going to be there. And also thanks to the Alana Black Chamber, and their government affairs department. I don't have the date. I want to say it's May 29th. I think it is May 29th. I will be one of the people speaking on their government affairs panel on about becoming an elected official, how to work with the government, the ins and outs and the bads and the ugly. So I'm excited about that, to be invited to do that. Shout out to Montini and shout out to all Hayden. Hayden's one of our District 3 wonderful residents who's really big in the Atlanta Black Chamber. So we need to make sure that we are going to these various trainings. Shout out to the Working Family Party. I'm a part of the Working Family Party. We have the New Rock Wolf Pack. You want to join that with us? We hold elected officials accountable in Newton and Rockdale. Okay, we are the New Rock Wolf Pack. So join that. You can go to New Rock Wolf pack on Facebook and sign up, okay? And hit the button and you get the information from us. So we believe in holding people accountable. So that's all I have.
Gotcha. Well, you know what? I got 2 more questions, and that's it. 2 more questions. Now, the first one is, how do you want to be remembered? I mean, that ain't no gloomy thing, but how do you want to be remembered as far as who you are, where you're destined to, and your goal?
That is a good question. First of all, I want to be remembered as a person who never gave up.
Okay.
Because I just spoke to at the banquet for Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Covington Area Lumley chapter for their scholarship banquet for the seniors who actually are graduating to receive scholarships. And I told my story from when I grew up and the things that happened to me. So I am now able to talk about it, speak about it, and share. And so I wanted to show them that all the adversities that I went through, all the trials and tribulations, I still was able to say I ran for office and won. I still can say that I've never gave up and did various things. I still can say I taught school and got all of my degrees that I need to get and still going to get some more. I know they say I have more degrees than thermometer, but I love learning. But I want to be that person that never gave up and to show people that no matter what you have gone through, it was only a test. And as we say in church, and it's your test becomes your testimony. And to show people that you have the strength inside of you. It's great to have people motivating you, but you should be your biggest motivator. The biggest motivator should be you. And no matter what they throw at you, let me tell you something. When people throw things at you, that means that you got some skin in the game. Okay. When they coming at you and throwing things left and right, front and back and center, wherever it may be, that means you are valuable. Gotcha. That you have something that scares them, that if you get in that position, you're going to change the game and they don't want it to be you. Let me tell you, the devil don't come after junk. He doesn't come after junk. The enemy doesn't come after junk. So gotcha. You have something so valuable that's a light inside of you that he saw. He peeked into your future, that he used certain people, his little minions, to come for you because he wants to stop that path that he already has been revealed to him. He don't want you to get there. So you have to take that with a grain of salt. You have to take it that way and flip it, the negativity that, dang, I must be valuable. You should be scared when they're not talking about you.
No, that's the truth.
For you, because you're like, dang, what am I doing wrong? Why nobody want to come for me? Why they don't want to talk to me? That's when you should be scared, when nobody is coming for you. When I ran for this DPG position, I found out there was so much stuff put out about me that was lies. It was so many lies that I was like, wait a minute. There was some people even making calls from my county. Some people, because it's only some people, they said I was a criminal elected official. Like I've never been indicted. I've never.
No.
Everybody in my county that knows me knows that I am a person who holds people accountable. There were so many calls to state committee members that said I was only running because I was chasing after the money. And you heard me say in the beginning, I had no idea what the salary was until I got the application. So, I mean, that's when you know people are scared of what God has given you. They are scared of your gifts. They are scared of your talents. They are so afraid of what God is going to do when they see you there, but they don't know that they cannot stop you. They can't stop you. And if it didn't happen, you weren't meant to be there. You was meant to be somewhere greater. You wasn't meant to be there if it didn't happen. There's a lot of things. Everybody wants to win. I mean, you cannot say I didn't want to win. Everybody wants to win. I mean, I love the song Fantasia. First, you got to lose to win again. Nobody want to lose, Fantasia, but that's a great song.
Go on, Tay.
Okay, it's a great song.
But, that's my girl. Love me some Tay Tay.
You you learn from losing, you learn from the failures, because you take so many things. And let me tell you, there's opportunities and failures, because once I left that DPG chair election, so many people stopped me and asked me to do other things because they saw something else in me. So you have to say, that probably wasn't meant for me at the time. It was meant for me to go through the journey. It was meant for me to go through the process. It was meant for me to be able to talk to people across the state of Georgia so they know who Alana Sanders is and what Alana Sanders can do for the state of Georgia and her community, and that she is true to her calling. It was meant for that. And I take that. I take all of that. That's why people say, you're not upset. Why would I be upset? I already knew what the plan was before I got in it. You know what I'm saying? They told me the plan. I decided to continue to still run. I was told the plan.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I wanted to continue the journey, and I would not change it for nothing. I met some great people on the journey. All 7 of us were dynamic people, great people. I met some of their wives that I love to death. I hope we keep in contact with. I mean, very intelligent people on this journey. So we've all have different gifts and talents that we could have brought to being the DPG chair. So I don't change my journey for nothing. I'm not mad at anybody but the devil. Okay, I'm not mad at. I ain't even mad at him, because what am I gonna be mad at him for? I mean, wasting my time.
All right, there. Okay, now before we wrap it up, we close every show with our rant of the day. This is your space. Speak freely. Get something off your chest. Speak on what's needs a saying, or release that pressure. Because like a pressure cooker, if you don't let that steam out, it will blow. Like a firecracker in your hand. If you hold on to it too tight, it's going to explode. So, what's your rant of the day?
Okay. My rant of the day is, don't judge a book by its cover. That's my rant of the day. You never know what's up under this hat that can be a blessing. You never know what's behind this suit that can be a blessing. You never know what's behind this smile that can be a blessing, because God uses me as a vessel. So don't judge a book by its cover. Don't allow the enemy to have you miss something great. Don't allow the enemy to stop your blessings because you are intimidated by something. I don't know what it is that you try to stop certain things, and it messes with your blessings when you try to do things intentionally. Allow God to move, allow God to flow, because he's going to move regardless whether you like it or not, whether you are against it or not. He's going to move. He's going to allow things to occur that you cannot stop, because no one is bigger than God. So I'm telling you today, the next person you judge before you've been talking to them and having a conversation, step back a little bit and say, check yourself a little bit. Let me talk to them and find out what they're about. Let me see what they're about. And I'm telling you, once you get the opportunity to learn who they are, you never know. You may gain a new friend, a new sister, a new support. That's my rant of the day.
If I had the applause, they would be going right now. So, you already told us what you have coming up. I just want to know one more thing. Let me turn this off as we close on out. You know, I'm my own producer. All right. So, we want to thank you for setting the tone for this Civic Edition. You are exactly why this space was created. For stories that matter, for voices that fight, for leaders who lead, no matter the seat. Now, tell us where we can follow you, keep up with you. Let us know more.
You can follow me on all social media platforms under Alana Sanders or Commissioner Alana Sanders, Commissioner Sanders. Even on YouTube as well, TikTok Alana Sanders, or you can go to alanasanders.com. On YouTube under Commissioner Alana Sanders, I talk about politics. I also have a show on iHeartRadio called Pulse and Politics,
Yes, I
talk
caught that.
about the bills. I talk about the federal, from the state to the local level. We have a conversation where I'll be having some guests come on soon to converse with me. Pulse in Politics on iHeart, and it's also streams as well on Spotify. You can find it. So make sure you can find me on all those platforms, or you can hit me up on Facebook in the inbox, and I'll refer you there as well.
You know what? I am so grateful for you kicking off this session, this series. Now, next week, we have the Honorable Chief, Mrs. Valencia Stovall, former Georgia State Legislator, and I'm going to let her fill in the rest with the other. But you know what? You're going to trust me. It's going to be another powerful conversation. Now, I'll also be in D.C. next week, fighting for medical cannabis rights. And don't forget about the 2HW Summit, July 26th at Fernbank. Stay tapped in. And I guess, before we come back, I don't even know if we're going to do an after show. But no, I think we covered it all here. But how I am going to close out, let me go ahead and turn this music off before it popped back up. And we're going to close out with this right here. I was able to find a video on your page. So, that's why I was over here turning my head, clicking back and forth. I just got to stop this. Woo, here we go. Let's see. Let's put this up. We're going to close out with this. And then this was one that I saw that was short enough. We're going to go ahead and close out, and then we're going to be out of here. Let's see what you got to say right here. Let's go. Yeah. Is it playing? Oh, no.
Turn the volume up.
There you go. Oh, man, I am my own producer. Wait a minute. Hold up. Okay, let me go ahead and put it back up there. Here we go. Let's go and close out with it. Let's see.
When I was out campaigning, they had no idea what a commission does and how to make their lives with it. We have to educate the voter to let them know how important that we vote our God, as we say the old term. We have to show them that our elections, voting, is the only way that we can change things. And by going into those areas and making sure the resources are there, the education is there, and making sure those individuals are actually voting and are registered to vote, we have to be present in those various areas. We also have to provide the resources that they need. Those areas are underfunded. And if we have the resources they need to get the people out to vote, we could be flipping seats daily. We have to have a strategic plan. We cannot only plan when it's time for an election. We have to plan year around and make sure we have the right people in place to run these seats who are electable. Not just the favorite person that we want to see in the seat. They have to be electable and hold them accountable once you place them in the seat. You put them there, don't leave them there.
I guess that's the end of the show. As soon as I figure out how to end this stream, we about to bounce. Commissioner, can you still hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't think we're on the screen.
We ain't on the screen. We just about to go ahead and cut it on out. All right, then. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Thank you for tuning in. Commissioner Sanders, go ahead and let him just lead us out.
Well, I want you all to believe in yourself and know that your community is important. No matter where you live, no matter what it looks like at this moment, you have to hold your elected officials accountable. A thriving community is an engaging community. People will only fight for what they believe in. People will only fight for what they see you believe in. If you don't hold those officials accountable, showing up at those meetings, telling them that you need certain things in your community, guess what? They care less because they think you are comfortable in your midst. So you have to show up and fight. Fight hard for what you deserve. Fight hard for what is yours. You are a taxpayer. You pay sales tax. All of that funds your community. And you have to let those elected officials know that you are here and you are not going to take their mess, because we are going to hold you accountable.
All right. Thank you.